Alrighty. So I saw Spider-Man No Way Home this weekend, over the past weekend, and gotta say it did not disappoint. It's just very nostalgic. Being a kid back in the 2000s when the first films came out was it was incredible. Watching Tobey Maguire and seeing the reboot with Andrew Garfield and the Amazing Spider-Man. I love the first one. I even like the second one. That one kind of gets a lot of crap and hate, but overall, I pretty much like all the Spider-Man films that we see on live action. And I recently, just for the first time, watched Homecoming, which was it was okay. And then I had seen No Way Home, or excuse me, I had seen Far From Home back when it came out in theaters and really liked that one. So watching No Way Home, it was just it was awesome. Seeing just all three iterations of Spider-Man, on the big screen, you know, going at it was just it was so awesome. I guess the feeling may have been different for me because I grew up with you know the very first films. So I think some of the younger people nowadays, they may not kind of have that feeling, but for me it was like a great feeling. It was just it was incredible when when Toby and Andrew showed up. So it was so cool. I love it. Honestly, my favorite scene in the whole movie was when Doc Ock first appeared on the bridge, and I just thought that was so cool because it was like he was like so strong. Like he was like, I don't know, he seemed like he would gotten stronger. He was just like busting through the bridge, and like it was so cool to see him after like 20 years, you know, all ready to go. And honestly, that fight scene, I think that was like the coolest fight scene in the entire movie. People are gonna say obviously like the coolest fight scene was like the final battle between like all the Spider-Man and like all the villains, but honestly, I think that was like the coolest scene in the whole movie to see Doc Ock go at it with Tom Holland's Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So I think that was super cool. Um, it didn't seem like a discombobulated mess with all the villains, because they were already established in the previous movie. So they didn't have to throw anybody in like the final act with not giving them enough screen time, like kind of how the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did. This was all it was laid out really well. It was so cool. It was fantastic. I'd probably give this film, if I had to give it like a rating. Oh man, it's tough. Like I want to say like a 10 out of 10, but you know what? Maybe I'll say it. I'm gonna say it's a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna say it's like a perfect film. It's I just gotta say it was. I mean, it was incredible. It's everything I wanted out of a Spider-Man movie. You know, the action. The you have some humor in there. Of course, you're gonna have humor with Spider-Man. He's a humorous character. The story was pretty good. The story was solid, and Peter, he just wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to do the right thing, even though he didn't know these guys. Lizard and Sandman and Electro and Doc Ock and Green Goblin. He wanted to do right by them because he felt it was his duty to try to help people if he could. That's who Spider Man is. And so I thought it was great. The story, it flowed along greatly. It was pretty awesome. So I mean, you had a great story, you had great characters, you had again, you had good humor, you had great special effects and action sequences, and it was really cool. I loved a lot of the fight sequences, like the hand to hand stuff, um, like between Green Goblin and Tom Holland Spider Man. So overall, just like a great film. It was a great feeling for the people around my age that grew up with all the previous versions, and then seeing them all come together at once on the big screen was just, oh man, it was a dream come true. Honestly, it was so cool. So anyway, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, you definitely should see it. It is by far the best Spider-Man movie of all time. I mean, I don't even think that's debatable at this point. I mean, people are saying it's the greatest Marvel Cinematic Universe film of all time. Now, let's not jump the gun. Let's not go that far quite yet. We'll have to see, but definitely the best Spider-Man film of all time, and definitely one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe films of all time. So I absolutely love it, and I just love how at the end it's kind of like they're starting from square one, with Peter, and he's gonna have to form all these relationships again with people, so because no one knows him, so it's gonna be like starting really at the core of Peter, and his journey to grow into the Spider-Man that we know he's going to be, because he doesn't have MJ and Ned, and of course Tony's gone, and Aunt May is gone. So, we're gonna start that foundation with him, and just gonna branch out. He's really gonna grow into the character now at this point, because he really doesn't have anyone else. Nobody remembers him. No one knows who he is. So I'm very curious to see how they're gonna progress on that, and kind of build up to some some other films. Because he just signed a deal, 3 more movies with Marvel as Spider-Man, and 3 more movies with Sony as Spider-Man. Tom Holland. That's the rumors. I know Marvel for sure has got him for 3 more movies, and the relationship with Sony's pretty rocky right now. So we're going to see how that works out. But whatever they decide to do, um, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to watch it in the future. I'm going to be a fan no matter what they decide to do. I'm going to go in and I'm going to support it, because Spider-Man's just a great character. He is lovable. He's likable. He's relatable. And I mean, you find me somebody who doesn't like Spider-Man. I don't know if you could, because I mean, come on, he's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. I mean, that's all there is to say. So anyway, I love the movie. Can't say that enough. How awesome it is. Anyone who hasn't seen it, you should go see it. It's fantastic. Definitely a 10 out of 10. So go check it out.